To close out day one, we welcome Shelbie Rassler to our virtual stage. Shelbie is a composer, arranger, and multi-instrumentalist. She's a 22-year-old graduate with a Bachelor of Music in Composition at the Boston Conservatory at Berklee College of Music. It doesn't get any better than that in the world of music. She's currently pursuing a master's in music composition at the Juilliard School in New York. Her compositions have been played by various orchestras, choruses, chamber ensembles throughout the country, and she has music directed several concerts and musicals. And in addition to her extraordinary compositional skills, she is a really talented musician. Primary instruments are alto sax and drums, though she plays many others, including piano, guitar, bass, clarinet, trumpet, trombone, and others. Please welcome Shelbie Rassler.
Hello everyone, my name is Shelbie Rassler. I'm a 22-year-old musician from South Florida, and today I'm here to tell you the story of how one seemingly devastating email changed my entire life. But to do so, I've got to give you a little bit of backstory first. Growing up in a musical family, I was exposed to the arts at a very young age and fell in love immediately. I started playing the drum set when I was about 7 years old and have learned to play pretty much every instrument I can get my hands on ever since. I was the president of my middle school band program, the drum major of my high school band program, and I attended the Boston Conservatory at Berklee College of Music for a degree in music composition. I spent my 4 years in college composing, conducting, music directing, and performing at every single chance I could get. Our community in Boston was strong and it was beautiful, and I feel so fortunate to have had such an incredible undergraduate experience, all leading up to the most exciting events like our senior recitals and our showcases and, of course, graduation. However, as we all know now, the spring of 2020 was when the absolutely tragically devastating coronavirus pandemic took off, claiming the lives of an unimaginable amount of people. On March 11th, 2 days after my 22nd birthday and a month before my senior recital, the student body received an email saying that the remainder of the school year would be held online. While this was undoubtedly the most correct and safe decision at the time, we were all just devastated. Looking back several months later, it's clear that we couldn't have possibly imagined the severity of the situation at hand. And, now it's 2021 and we've tragically lost over 2 million people around the world. But at the time, all I could selfishly think about was my canceled senior recital that I had been working towards for 4 years, our canceled graduation, my canceled trip to France for the Cannes International Film Festival, my canceled summer music directing job that I wait every single school year to get to, and everything else that was seemingly gone in an instant. But there was absolutely nothing that we could do to change what was happening, and 3 days later, I was on a plane back to Fort Lauderdale after packing up my entire life in Boston and saying goodbye to all of the friends that turned into family during the preceding 4 years. I cried, and I cried, and I cried some more, and eventually something just clicked in my brain. There was absolutely no way that I was going to let this be the end of our story. So, like all productive 22-year-old young girls wanting to brainstorm, I decided that the best thing for me to do was to take a nap. And let me tell you, it was most definitely the best thing that I could have ever done in that moment, because when I woke up about 20 minutes later, I turned to my friend Cammie, who I was flying home with, and I said, I think I might have an idea. 10 days later, that little idea premiered on Good Morning America, and by the end of the week, it had an entire segment on the Today Show. But we'll get to that later. The idea itself was really simple. I just wanted to find a way to continue collaborating with my friends and colleagues, and being as we were no longer all living in the same city, it seemed the only thing we could do was collaborate remotely using various forms of technology. I thought that the phrase virtual orchestra had somewhat of a ring to it, and I decided on Burt Bacharach and Hal David's exquisite tune, What the World Needs Now is Love. I remembered back to Seth Rudetsky and James Wesley's video of this song, in honor and memory of the victims of the horrendous 2016 Pulse nightclub shooting. When I watched their video 5 years ago, I felt a sense of comfort and hope, something that was just non-existent at the time. I was inspired and looked up to these two brave men for creating such a beautiful and meaningful initiative in a time of such darkness and despair. A few years later, I had the exciting opportunity to watch Seth in a local concert hall and even said a brief hello at the meet and greet after the show. I didn't get the chance to thank him for creating the original What the World Needs Now video, but, well, spoiler alert, 4 years later, we now work together on a weekly basis after he watched my video inspired by his. The world needed some love back in 2016, and I felt like it needed some love back in March as well. So I made a simple Facebook post asking if anyone would want to record themselves playing, singing, or dancing to an arrangement I would write of the song. There wouldn't be any rehearsals, and instead of conducting a standard orchestra, which I often did back in Boston, I found myself shifting and adapting to the technological world on the fly, with, of course, the help of some YouTube tutorials and the help of my wonderful friend, mix engineer, and co-producer, Dan Santiago. And about a week later, we had a video of 75 musicians from all around the world coming together to share some love.
Lord, we don't need another meadow. There are cornfields and wheat fields enough to grow. There are sunbeams and moonbeams enough to shine.
Oh, listen, Lord, if you want to know.
The video spread pretty quickly, and before I knew it, I was getting dozens of interview requests every single day by various television networks, news stations, magazines, and newspapers, and from that moment on, my life has truly never been the same. Somehow, a 24-hour news cycle lasted months and led to collaborative opportunities with people I would have spent my entire lifetime working towards the minuscule chance of maybe one day working with. My amazing mother became my press secretary, juggling calls from all over the world, leading to interviews in Italy and Australia, Sweden, and more. Somehow, it even reached the desk of President-elect Joe Biden, who called my cell phone to say thank you for producing the video. And yes, he did in fact call while I was napping once again. So I guess the moral of this whole story is just about the importance of napping in your 20s. Well, I'm not too sure about that, but fast forward a couple of months after that, instead of walking at my graduation, I received the Graduate This award from David Pogue live on CBS, and my What the World Needs Now video was part of the CNN 4th of July primetime special, where I worked with Mr. Bacharach himself on an edited rendition of my original video where he sang along to my own arrangement. I literally could not believe my eyes. It was all just such a dream come true. This experience has taught me so many different things, but most importantly, I quickly learned that while media attention is fun and exciting while it lasts, my purpose in life is definitely to facilitate and create art that has the power to convey meaningful messages and themes, and while doing so, the potential to help others along the way, making an impact emotionally, physically, financially, socially, or otherwise. Once the dust began to settle, I began thinking about the importance of artists sticking together and supporting each other during this unprecedented period of time. It's incredibly challenging to remain hopeful and optimistic about our futures with so many unknowns, not to mention how difficult it is to stay motivated and productive in the arts when the light at the end of the tunnel is just invisible. So, I've spent the last 9 months doing everything I can to lift others' spirits, maybe even shine a glimmer of hope amid so much darkness. One of the first organizations to reach out in regards to working together on a brand new project after my What the World Needs Now video was this organization called the Female Quotient, a female-owned business advancing equality in the workplace through the power of collaboration. They bring visibility to women, activate solutions for change, and create metrics for accountability. As a female-identifying person myself, I was immediately in awe over this incredible organization, and we worked together to produce this video of Rachel Platten's Fight Song, featuring my inspiring and talented friends and colleagues. I then began producing music videos for Stars in the House with the aforementioned Seth and James. And Stars in the House is a daily show featuring Broadway performers and renowned professional artists, and it serves as a fundraiser for the Actors Fund. Since the start of the pandemic, the show has raised over $650,000 for artists in need of financial support right now. This also led to working on projects such as this all-star cover of Georgia on My Mind, featuring artists that I would do anything just to see in concert, let alone ever work with, all as part of a fundraiser for Stacey Abrams' Fair Fight organization. Our concert raised over $2 million in ticket sales alone, and 7-year-old me, who just sat on her little drum chair for the first time, is still in absolute utter disbelief.
Other eyes smile tenderly, still in peaceful dreams.
I see
The road leads back to you. Georgia, Georgia, no peace I find. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. On my mind. We're singing this song for you.
Prior to this video, I wanted to use my newfound platform to lift the voices of those being silenced, as we're not only experiencing a global health crisis, but we're also reckoning with racial injustice and a severe lack of equity in our nation. The Black Lives Matter movement has grown immensely over the last several months, following the tragic, unspeakable murders of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and countless others. And I felt as though the only way that I could contribute would be to create a fundraiser for the NAACP and highlight the need for change in our nation. So I wrote a song called Rebuild, and it had lyrics by my wonderful sister Brielle, and a virtual orchestra of over 300 individuals performed the song as part of this fundraiser.
And we will soar even higher than before. Stand taller as we restore. Little louder, even more. We'll stand tall. We'll move on together. Let none of us fall. Fight the long fight. Turn all the wrongs right. Use the future as our guide. We will rebuild.
I also collaborated with a musician named Steve Shook on his initiative, America the Dream, arranging and producing a music video of the classic America the Beautiful with altered lyrics. Our vision is to harness the power of song to connect all Americans, reminding us of the dreams we share in common, starting with this re-envisioning of America the Beautiful. Young and old, black and white and brown, from schools and prisons to houses of worship, everywhere from sea to shining sea. We're now sharing the scores to our arrangements with schools all around the nation at absolutely no cost, so students can perform the song and spread this imperative message. For the last several years, I've worked as a music director for the Lovewell Institute for the Creative Arts, and we have a set of affirmations to inspire our students. My favorite one goes a little something like this: I have a kind thought for everyone. May we create today in the spirit of cooperation and joy. The noticeable lack of kindness and growing hatred in our country is not only seen among adults, but unfortunately, it is also prevalent in bullying among children and teens. So when PBS's Band Against Bullying team reached out after watching my What the World Needs Now video, I jumped on board immediately. I became the musical and technical advisor for this past year's program and had the chance to hear from these students firsthand as they bravely shared their experiences, and it was truly beautiful. I also recently worked as a music arranger for the United Nations 75th Anniversary Celebration Concert, focusing on how well we handle pressing challenges from the climate crisis to pandemics, inequalities, new forms of violence, and rapid changes in technology and in our population, all extremely relevant to what I've been up to for the past several months. As time passed, my newfound passion for activism grew and led to collaborations with more of my heroes on videos surrounding the 2020 election and the importance of voting, trying with everything in me to use my newfound platform for good. I worked with musicians like Yo-Yo Ma on a collaboration with pianist Laura Downs, and an original song by Jim Mayer of the Coral Reefer Band, and a commission by the Female Quotient's Youth Vote Initiative, which was an original song called Election Day, written by yours truly. Here are a few clips from those 3 songs.
Take care of this house, keep it from harm.
If bandits break in,
Sound the alarm.
and one makes three. Let's jumpstart democracy. We don't know who to trust, but we can't let this turn to rust. Just vote.
It's outrageous.
Just vote.
So hellacious.
What's it gonna take to get you to just vote? Just vote.
Don't get them lazy.
Just vote.
Don't go crazy.
What's it gonna take to get you to just vote? We the people of the earth. This is our moment. This is our time. Exercise your rights. We won't give up this fight. This is our future. Remember our hands. The mic is in our hands. At last, join us and raise your voice. You know you have the choice. Build the nation we deserve. We've got families to preserve. Join me and fix the past. Our moment is here at last. Lift your voice and help me say, see you there. Join us and raise your voice. You know you have the choice. Build the nation we deserve. We've got families to preserve. Join us and fix the past. Our moment is here at last. This is our moment. See you there on election day.
While music cannot cure COVID-19, it certainly can help touch the hearts of those who are suffering, and I feel an immense need to try and make this happen as often as possible. I've worked on about 24 projects since the release of my What the World Needs Now video in March, and all of which have the common goal of spreading positivity and meaningful messages. The last several months have solidified how grateful, fortunate, and privileged I am to have a platform to continually produce art during such a horrible time. And that brings us to today. It's 2021 at last, and I'm currently a master's in composition student at Juilliard, my dream school from before I knew what school was, studying with one of my favorite composers of all time, Mr. John Corigliano. It's so hard to believe that this has all happened in less than a year, and I'm so grateful to be on this journey. While these experiences have all been incredible opportunities and my life has changed in truly every way imaginable, it's not lost on me how many millions and millions of people are tragically suffering in so many ways right now. I hope to provide even just a tiny spark of inspiration to those who feel nothing but hopeless. Thank you so much.